oh, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we throw it to anybody. No, you have to represent your genre to the highest ability and be respected by your peers. The first Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the rap and hip hop genre is Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 MC, which is this man, right here, is a stellar member of it. 2007. You don't get in there. Some people, yo, y'all should have been in. You got to wait 25 years before you are eligible. And it don't come like, oh yeah, it ain't coming because people are like, oh yeah, I feel like you should. It ain't based on no feelings. It's based on what you did your thing and do your thing. The second one is way back. All I know is Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 MCs. I said the second group is so far back, it was like Wilt Chamberlain would score 50 points a game, and the next one would be like Jerry West at 35. It ain't in competition with Kiss. Kiss had to be up against the Rolling Stones and Zeppelin and all that. Now, Kiss, you mad because you ain't better than them.
Right.
But Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 is the top of the pile in that category. That's how that goes. So when Nas was saying hip hop is dead, you ain't got no groups. How many groups you name today? One thing you look at a band and like, give me 7, I got 7 minutes. I'm watching the clock because I know I got to go to. A group is important. A group represents the elements. When you look at a Public Enemy, it ain't 8 mics on it. It's just a group in motion. We learned from these brothers, and these brothers had 5 mics in motion with the best DJ in the world. They're the best MCs. So the way they put things together, and I'm going to tell you, the 35-point person in the game was the Treacherous 3 that came out and scored 40 minutes, and we got the great LA Sunshine now. And the great LA Sunshine knew that the Furious 5 was somebody that said, well, we got to get those. And the Furious 5, you start looking over your shoulder and say, LA Sunshine, cool, okay. Somebody just didn't all of a sudden anoint you. Here we came from Long Island. We started from a whole other thing. By the time we got in, it was no easy thing. We had, these guys looking like, who are these guys? You have to prove who you are. The best way to prove who you are has to come in a group. I ain't no super duper incredible MC. I'm just loud. And Melly Mel is my temperament, so I have to be underneath that. I have to be loud. So yeah, groups. Hip hop. If I asked you to name 5 groups that started since the year 2000, you probably would know. Wow. It ain't your fault because it has to be presented and curated to you. Groups. Can't name groups. Name more than 10 women active on radio today. Name more than 3. Name a woman group. Because in the 80s, you had women groups. Rick produced a few of them. Women groups. I mean, JJ Fad, Salt and Pepper, She Rockers, Oaktown 357. Nothing ever beats women when they're in harmony with each other. When you get a woman group, dudes can't stop this. There's too much testosterone. And you hear too many, and you know what? And a lot of times when it comes down to women in hip hop, you lost that area because guys tried to guide them instead of guide them. You hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Guide them instead of guide them. So you can't name, all right, it's so big, you can't name women, you can't name groups, so now you're going to name individuals. And individuals came about in the record industry in the 90s because, you know what? We can afford to have one person, not a lot of people, distort us, and it's very easy to renegotiate in negotiation. So you always need and I'm going to let the word out here because it's in context. It's always got to be a Negro to validate a nigga. Nigga ain't going to pop up without a Negro in the mix. And when it comes down to negotiation and renegotiation, that's the music business from 1990 on up. Individualized. Don't talk about no damn group. So when they start coming down on Nas, who always works his hardest to try to keep things in context, but it goes over the heads of heads. And once it goes over the heads of heads, then what? His heads are supposed to catch it. But once it goes over the heads of heads, like passing taxi cabs. So I use a lot of cryptic things like that, but if a person's slow on it, that don't mean my rhyme style off. You can attest to that, right? It's like, yo, dude, you dumbed and young yourself down into a corner where you can't comprehend me rhyming at you and throwing verbal tape around yourself. I'm throwing verbal, and I'm doing the same thing on Twitter. It's like, oh, I don't understand, because you got verbal tape all over your social networks. You're confused. You're confused with yourself. You're playing D on yourself, like we say in basketball. You don't need to guard you. Kick the ball out of gas. You're playing D on yourself. The court plantations have made a product out of the word N, out of the N word. They have niggerized it into a product. A product, well, they have branded, just like back in the 1800s, they have branded the N word back into us. They have marketed it, they have redefined it, or they're trying to redefine it to where it's the one-word national, international anthem of hip-hop, and black is the curse word. So, the narrative of who controls the narrative of now. Like I said at the beginning, Third World made that song, Now That You Found Love. What are you going to do with it? Culture, the universal language, give me culture, you can keep government. Right? That sounds naive, right? I ain't going to be totally naive on y'all. But when they start talking about Chicago being Chirac, and if you ain't got nobody in Chicago, you ain't got no relatives in Chicago, so you kind of like, well, you know, I feel bad for them. When you got relatives in Chicago, and you start feeling that there's a relevancy because we're the same people, then you got to ask the question with 3 minutes left. Why are black people ished on in the culture? They got all this going on in Chicago, and the radio station, which is urban, connected to 100 other stations, is going to tell you where hip-hop lives and play the same old thing to have people thinking that they can have conflict with each other without cause.
That's right.
I'm just saying, y'all grown, right? You know where the radio station is. Now, I'm not talking about maybe if you're scared to have a protest and this don't work the same way that they did back in the 60s with a sign in front of a building. But if you can't stop a person going to work, or you can't stop a predator in your neighborhood, or you can't identify a predator, then it will be worse by the time we get to the so-called year of clarity of 2020. 2020 is already mapped out. 2014 was mapped out in the middle of 2001. What you gonna do? It ain't the quantity of how you group up and build people, it's the quality of who's rolling to stop the flow of something flowing and splashing on you. It's acid. My man Cormega has a song. He can't be heard on Hot 97 or Power 105 or whatever the hell, and we can't force it. In Canada, they got a rule, and I'll tell you with 2 minutes left. If you give me 3 minutes, I'll explain thoroughly. Canada, they got a rule that the playlists in Canada, they could not play under 40% of Canadian artists. Every playlist that comes through there, as you see, like, you know, whatever, whoever, whatever, Iggy Azalea, who I got Twitter beef, but I ain't got Twitter beef. Twitter beef is funny because people look at Twitter and think, oh, Chuck is vexed. I'm just typing. I'm between eating and going to the bathroom. I was in the UK doing all that stuff at Hot 97 because I had insomnia and I was up. We already did a show. I'm like in the dressing room. I'm in the hotel room, like, bro. Like that. Oh, Chuck, he's bad. How you gonna tell him how emotional can be typing? It shows you that the word is something, ain't it? Words can start wars and end them. Get better with words. That's what LA Sunshine taught me. Get better with words, dude. I can use the same word. LA Sunshine around here taught me to say, and AD taught me that, you know, I can use the same words and turn it into assault weapon. Same words. Ain't even got to use a different word. Ain't got to use a big word. Juxtapose it, boom, spit it out. Oh, damn, why it got to be like that? All I said was the Hot 97 Summer Jam was a sloppy fiasco. I don't know if they got it mixed up with me saying Lupe fiasco or whatever, but I guess they never heard the words put together like that, sloppy and fiasco. And this day of Metro and all that, I guess being called sloppy hurts more than being cursed out. You know, you just sloppy with your ish. Oh man, oh, he called us sloppy. He said it was a fiasco. So that's how I started the whole thing, sloppy fiasco. It's like licorice pencil. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? You want to just sit there like, well, I don't listen to the radio. Let me tell you why the radio is powerful. Number one, because it's free. We can say internet, I got this thing going, it's streaming. You don't pay your ISP. You know what ISP means? Everybody know what ISP means? Put your hand in the air. ISP means Internet Service Provider. You don't pay your Internet Service Provider bill, it will whoop, it is cut off. Now, you have to have the skills of Black Dot who can tell you how you can get by and steal people's ISPs. I mean, that's how we had to do in the beginning of cell phones, right? Cats were like, man, we gotta kind of de-niggerize cell phones because they making calls and they done found a way, like in Africa, they can, back they figured a way where somebody uses cell and hang up and not get charged for it. Like, I'm gonna hang up. They're like, there's gonna be a way. We're gonna be inventive. But that's what I'm saying, right about now. Now you say you love it, what you gonna do? Identify. I'll leave you with this note. I said y'all gave me 2 more minutes. Identify your target. They in your home, how the hell you not gonna be in their home? How the hell you not gonna know the people and where the offices they at? Let me tell you, these people take a car service to their job every day of the day. They leave their jobs and they go on about and they mix into the crowd. This is when, in protest and struggle in this country, they identify the targets. I was just in Turkey. Turkey, you know what happened in Turkey last month? 276 coal miners died in just some malfeasance in the coal mines. And in the whole country, like, we can't have this. Every single person who has these coal mines will be accountable or this country is going down. We in New York. It ain't like this ain't Scranton. No offense to Scranton. But Scranton is influenced by the signal coming up out of here. Because nobody paying attention to Jersey and Connecticut where the signal reaches out to, it influences, and it goes further now because people get their internet, HOT97 on the internet. I mean, God forbid. But I'm saying, radio is free. It's free. You can take a transistor radio from 1954, you bought it off of Elvis's sister. It worked with a 9-volt battery. You shake it off, put the battery in, it goes and you can get the same radio station. That's right. Ain't got nothing to do with your cell phone, your gadgets, your new Samsung pad. Nah, you get free radio. That's why it's powerful and gonna be powerful. That's why an answer is like, I don't listen to it, I just shut it off. You ain't shutting off the masses. The masses are open to it. People are sitting at work, I'll turn on the radio. They ain't allowing us to have Wi-Fi here. So instead of being dictated to, when you actually going to make something accountable? Listen, this is art. We only talk about culture and all, we're not only talking about it, but this is the tip of the iceberg. And this is why I'm saying that this distribution of talkers and speakers and scientists and those with the knowledge to make you break this down and teachers. These brothers are not just stellar MCs, they're teachers. They can break it down to make the masses understand, the school systems understand, but we know that wasn't meant to be. But at least what the great temples like this could do is allow the interpretation and the documentation to ourselves of what this thing really is, and treat it seriously. And not go into things like, well, how many people was there? It's not about that. It's like how many people, one by one, it can actually teach. Look, this is simple. If the community does not protect or serve the arts cannot be taught to protect or serve the community. The arts of rap music and hip hop in this city have highly and largely been left and neglected like a child. And there's no surprise when it grows up to be what it is. And when it grows up to be what it is, you see what it is. The time I invested in my child, I had to tell somebody, no, I can't go and do a lecture over in so-and-so. I got my own child. You don't change the world. You can't change the world. You can't change your own head. You can't change your head and try to change your crib. You can change your crib, change your block. Then try to change other things past that, step by step. Don't put it all on yourself. But you got one signal with a few people going to a little office in a bubble, programming the millions, and you mean to say that they're going to be a mystery, like a mystery God? I can't accept that. I cannot accept that. I cannot accept that. At 53 years old, me and we from the same day, being 54, matter of fact, 3/4 of our crew are over 50. Really, seriously. I ain't got time to be telling a 34 or 35-year-old what to do. They can't, you can't man up at 30 years old. You can't man up. That's why I say, well, talk to me. Man, yo, man, look, when I was 31, I would go to a radio station. I'm not doing it right now. But there's 35, 40-year-old, 45-year-old people who are put work in that need to be heard. My job is also to figure out how to be a service in my genre, rap music and hip-hop, to figure out how to maybe find some futuristic ways for the people that pioneered and broke ground for us. You know, my only goal, I don't want nothing from anybody. My job is to provide service. I don't want nothing from anyone. Providing service is the only thing I want to do. And I'm going to provide service in the thing that paved the road for me. And that's how it should be. They do it in sports. We can't do it in music. We can't do it in culture. Culture is the easiest thing to snatch back. If you can't man up at 35, 40 years old, 45 years old, 27, 28, then you're going to keep looking at 25 and under as big babies with their thumb in their mouth. I don't know what to say. I came here to speak today. I'm going to do Combat Jack's show later on tonight, and I ain't saying no more. My thing is like, my job to provide service. There's so many others that speak. That's why I asked the great court maker, can you come down? I salute you. He put so much, he could talk. There's so many people that can talk. We need women hip-hop artists to talk. We need people that say they love the music and art form to get out there and say something and demand that air. It ain't 500 radio stations playing hip-hop music, they say. So go to the one that claims it in your neighborhood, in your city, and make them accountable. And I ain't gonna tell you how to do it. I don't know. I know what I would do. Stop a person from going to work. Hello. Oh man, yo, everybody got to eat. You make the same excuse that you used to make about drug dealers in the 80s. Oh man, come on now, they got to do their thing. I'm really seriously. You got to stop the predator in your neighborhood. You can't recognize that this is really, they're predators. Right. But I don't want to hear nothing from them either. I raised 2 children in this city. They're grown people. They teach people. We get in the car, HOT97 and all the stations come on, be on, and they know that, yeah, you know what, to a certain extent, if it gets too crazy, what happens to the radio? It's off, we listen to CBS 101, the Four Tops. What's the fear? It ain't just about, you know, if we don't treat all of our children like our children, we're wasting our damn time. I'm wasting it. If y'all can't figure out, how to stop the radiation of a radio, TV, movie nation, the weapons of mass distraction in New York City, and to protect the legacy of these giants who still want to contribute to where we are and where they live, I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my time coming here. This place is right down. You locate the owner. The owner's sitting in somewhere like Tennessee, drinking coffee in the morning. Asked me to come to HOT97. No, I don't want to talk to you. You're nobody to me. That hurts too. Oh, you're nobody to me. They nobody to me. I want to talk to the dude that lives in Manchester, Tennessee, that owns this. I will fly to his crib and do the Cape Fear on him. Yo, sit in front of the crib. I got time to do that. Fly right on my ticket, sit in front of the crib. It's like, why is this Negro sitting in front of my home, interrupting my family? We just own 67 radio stations around the country that says urban where hip-hop lives, and they think that they own the hip-hop and rap music. Yep, I do. Yep, I got the audacity and the damn nerve, and I'm sitting in front of your crib. What? It's one thing I learned from, you know, I was in Air America. And the one thing that, man, I'm telling you, they didn't play. Carl Rove, anybody remember Carl Rove? who worked in the Bush administration, he came out and said something against Latino workers. He lived in Virginia. Do you hear me when I tell you that whatever he said, I had to cover the news report that they sent the Latino community, they sent 15 school buses on his front lawn. He was like, yo, what can I do? He couldn't even, this dude's in D.C. going home to Virginia. He was like, yo, you know what, we a problem. Can't possibly. These dudes, these people, yo, mark my word, they know I ain't playing. I mean, them and Rosenberg the same place. You can't live in your hometown if you're an instant on people. So we don't know where they live. Anytime you hear one thing, Pop Diesel, Professor Griff, Chuck D, yo, one thing you know is you know our name. And I ain't no avatar either. You know my name, you know my face, you know how I sound, and you know how I think. There's no mistake in here. But you cannot be oblivious and anonymous and expect to be in some kind of fight with me. I will expose you. Those who know who. That's simple, right? Those who know who. Know who. That's my challenge to y'all. It doesn't matter. I'll take the train to the spot. Best transit system in the world. Take the train to the spot, protest, stop a person from going to work, and all of a sudden they start beefing and crying about that. Oh, they stopping a black man from working. Oh, so today you black. That's my challenge to the community here. If you want to change it, change it. You ain't going to change it by wishing. It's like the same thing being in this building hoping for a spooktified God to change things. I'm telling you, these court plantations ain't spooktified. They got individuals that got social security numbers, children that go to school, got houses that they live. You better identify to the person, to the middle name, what they doing, because they already got you figured out. I don't know what else to say. Oh, I do know what else to say. My email's simple. It's chuckd@publicenemy.com. You forget that, you don't need to have it. Real simple. I ain't got to say it twice. I ain't got no business cards on it. Twitter, @Mr. Chuck D. It's the only two things I do. If you try to hit me up on Facebook, I'll never ever see it. People that call me, I'm like saying, you know, I answered calls in 2005. Now I just text. Calls. You're like, I called you, man. I'm like, yo, man, I got 700 voicemails. I'm checking on voice. Send me a text, send me an email, we get it moving. Trying to build a booking agency called the Agency of the Gods, and I'm trying to actually find a place. We have rapstation.com where we try to service hip-hop artists that are doing their things now. I mean, like I said, seeing LA Sunshine, AD, Yoda for the Zulu, Raheem, just seeing them in my sight, that's like looking at, you know, royalty in any other genre. It's like Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington. We always talk about fantastic people when they're dead. I'm like, you don't know what I'm able to Google Louis Armstrong. Oh, he was hot. I'll tell you one last thing. We did the New Orleans Jazz Fest. We were hip-hop in the New Orleans Jazz Fest. They were very kind and nice to us, but what did they tell us every little bit? Thank you very much. Take your hip-hop self to the Louis Armstrong Airport and take you back to wherever you're at. Thank you very much. You all be respected. Now we'll contact Jack. I don't know if he's going to Q&A, but I think that's it. And I really seriously, in all due respect, really, and I can speak for my team and my people, that really, it was an honor, it was a pleasure being here.
Enough intelligence among us that we can certify our own people. So Professor Griff, however you got professor, he's certified by the work and the experience that he has put in this genre of hip hop, the culture, the music, and its representation, that he's more professor than any of the other professors that are out there. So when you talk about the concept of group, see, that's our solution. Group operations. We have sold into the rugged individualism in America, even in the hip-hop culture. We have given into that. And you know through the R&B groups, when you look at the Temptations, they separated David Ruffin. When you look at the Supremes, look at those names, they separated Diana Ross, so forth and so on, all the way down to the modern groups of Drew Hill. And all of them went south when you separated them and no longer had group activity. Remember, brothers and sisters, we're dealing with an open enemy. Some of them are black, some of them are white. And as the Farrakhan teaches, the synagogue of Satan is not just members of the Jewish community. They're the leaders of it, but it's members of the black community, white community, and other ethnic communities that don't even know they've been made a part of the synagogue of Satan. But understand this, that we're dealing with an enemy who does not want us to know about his social equality. Because when we find out how wicked he is, we would run him from among us. We must understand that socialism deals with a group of men and women gathered together for one common cause. What is the cause of hip-hop? It has always been freedom, justice, and equality for the people. That's why you came out with Fight the Power. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. You understand? That's why that came out. But we can no longer believe the hype that has been perpetuated in front of us. Is that right? So I'm saying to you on behalf of Minister Farrakhan, we have to unite, brothers and sisters. The fratricide that's continuing to happen is because we need to separate from our open enemies. Right here in the midst of them, as they have separated from us, and unite among our own people and among ourselves. We're going through what we're going through in the world of hip-hop because we won't unite. But look at what Chuck did. Look at how he affected.
I'm actually a hip-hop artist. I go by the name of Jeff B. And basically, I always come up here to familiarize you with my face and get a chance to talk to you later. Because I really, like, right now, I'm at the point where I feel like I'm good with, not like matching, but good with my craft.
Right.
I need to make more connections and make, like, really a big brother that knows more than me, basically. So I wanted to just familiarize you with me first so that we can talk later.
You got my email. I'll pass it on. The biggest point that you want to do, I encourage a lot of artists to learn technology. So how old are you?
19.
You're 19 years old. So you make your own music.
Yes, sir.
You write your own lyrics.
Yes, sir.
You spit what you believe.
Yes, sir.
Master those things as best possible. Number two, you make your own songs. How many videos do you shoot yourself?
I should do it myself. I'm working on a video right now.
Try to make a video for every 2-3 songs you make. Because you're making music with computer. Learn how to shoot. You can shoot from your phone. Shoot, learn how to cut. It ain't easy. But it ain't nothing to be easy. You gotta get a leg up upon all those other people that won't do it. Become your own label. You can become your own label right now. Brother in the back, Brother Ron, he's already has created ways you can become your own label. Become your own label now. The reason I say this is very important, because if you was in sports, right, you would go out for a team. Or you compete to be on the team. But you would probably buy your own sneakers, you'd probably buy your own socks. These are to learn what you should do as your own label, publisher, your own creator. These things are like, you gotta be a part of you. Nobody else can do these things for you. When you ever have something, you have somebody else that knows something about your art more than you, then they're automatically your partner. And if they're your partner without you really even knowing who they are, just because they can do something, you start a long line of trouble. Learn how to manage and master these tools yourself. So the one thing you remember what I just said, if you make your own music, you spit your own lyrics, make a video for almost every song that you do. Why? Because YouTube is what people have in the palms of their hand. And people see music and they hear music separate. So make sure people see your music, but they got to see your own ability. Shoot from this, learn how to cut from that, but know how to do I cut. And then, yeah, it's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 19 years old, man. You gotta manage these tools, man. Yo, man, how many? We asked the groundbreaking MCs who made records. It's 1979, 1980, 81. How many MCs you think have existed since that time? I mean, people who sat in their bed wanting to be an MC. We talking about, right, way more than a million. You join a line of a million people, you gotta figure out what are your advantages. Not getting a deal, but what can you do? Whatever you can't do, you either A, gotta find a partner, or find money to pay for that service. Learn how to do these things yourself. They're available right now. Things might change real soon, but right now you can actually get that advantage.
Yep.
And the reason I salute and ask you that question, LA, because man, you're a groundbreaker pioneer, and that is just the utmost, because everybody, it seems, has this thing in them, want to be a ball player, or how many people want to be a rapper in 2014? And when you can say that you're one of the best that ever did it and pioneered, that should be revered as fuel. That's fuel for me. When somebody says and talks about LA Sunshine or Raheem, I'm like, man, I geek out to that. So it just makes it a better play, you know? You mean that, like, Walt Frazier was happy yesterday after LeBron says he's gonna go back to Cleveland. We should have the same type of reverence in hip hop and rap music. Yes, ma'am. You can speak up louder, break the mic up, and so everybody can hear what you're saying. Or you can share this mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I want to say, thank you to you for your powerful words today. Thank you for taking this time out to come out and show us all some love. This is my first time meeting you, and I've adored you since I was a youngin'. I want to thank Brother Abdullah Peace for allowing us to come in here today to share this word. This is my first time here, and it won't be my last. I came here today because I wanted to just let you know that this is, I am a single mother. I'm one of the foot soldierettes that's out here hustling hard for my brothers. I'm raising a 13-year-old soldier to be, a man, black, powerful man like yourself. And one of the things, 2 years ago when Trayvon Martin was murdered, one of the things that ran hard for me is that we need to uplift our men. I love my black brothers. I think they are the epitome of beauty, and it's time for you guys to be recognized on the highest level possible. I know that your last words up in the mic today was, those who know who, right? Well, I want to build a relationship with you. I'd like to share your testimony in my magazine. It's called Thoughts Magazine. I'm the founder of Young Men Strong, and I want to recognize, and I want all my men up in here to know that Nigel Howard loves you, and it's time for you to be recognized, and educated, empowered, and motivated to know that you mean something. And it's time for the people out there to know through this magazine that you guys have a voice. And I want to share those kind of voices through this magazine. It's not about, hip hop and rap is nice, but we got scientists, we got lawyers, we got doctors, we got, we got big people who need to be recognized right here in the community, need to be lifted up. And so I want to lift up our men of color through Thoughts Magazine. So I hope y'all can support.
For those that don't have the card, you actually give information or an email, and I know you're going to send me an email since you got my email address. But do you have a digital example of your magazine too?
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a single mother rocking hard. I'm a hustler. I work hard for my black people, okay? I came out here from Jamaica, Queens, New York. I'm a Hollis kid. So I work hard to make sure I get out here and see my people. I want to come out here and support my brother because I want you to know how much I love you, and I want you to know how much love, I want some of your love back at me to show that my young men and my people can support one another. We can come together. And I hustled and I used my own hard-earned money to publish this magazine. I want all y'all to be a part of it. All of you.
Send me an email, I'll get the word around, and that's what I promise to do. And that's easy for me. I want everybody to understand, this ain't no run-of-the-mill thing. This is important. When we come from out here, the smallest things end up being the biggest things, like just being connected. We can't promise the moon, but a little bit helps, just like a little bit hurts. We know a little bit can hurt us, so a little bit helps. So with your magazine, I'll spread the word around. You got email, I'll spread the word around. And when it comes down to even doing things on at a different level, on a digital tip, there's a people in here that can give advice and we can spread that love. I mean, those are simple things to do. You know? Doing things above the simple thing might take more of a different conversation. But we cross that road when we get there. I showed somebody who was like, yo, Chuck, I can't get in touch with you. I showed them 1,339 emails in my inbox. But I read them every day and I process them out as quick as possible without being inundated with it. So be on top of it. Don't let it be on top of you. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum to the laborers and believers. Brother Chuck, I want to thank you. I'm a big fan. I'm a current teacher in the New York City public school system.
Oh boy.
And I work in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, New York.
There we go.
And I use hip hop as a tool. And I would love, I don't know if
What grade?
I teach 8th grade. A couple of my students, aspiring musicians, I also lost a couple of my students in the battlefields of Brownsville, Brooklyn to gun violence. But I'm gonna make it real short. I would love if you, Kayla Sunshine, Black Dot, and Cold Crush Brothers, and the Zulu Nation, I would love if we could have a forum, an educational tool. I don't know, fees, how that works out, but I would love if y'all could just speak to our students because they really need to hear a word, and then I get it from the other rappers out there, what I'm talking about. I don't want to be disrespectful, but if we could link up somehow, just y'all could just talk to, because I used 2007 the message as a lesson. My principal, what's up, buddy? My principal said, what are you doing? And I said, this is a tool.
Your principal.
Yeah, at the time.
How old is your principal?
She was an older lady at the time.
She's from Brooklyn?
No, she's not from Brooklyn. So she didn't understand it. But next thing you know, when the parents were coming in, they were like, oh, it's like a jungle style. That was great. And the next year, I used Fight Power. Then the next year after that, I used Stevie Wonder's Living in the City to show that poets are not just William Shakespeare. Poets are like Carl Ridenhour. Poets like Melly Mel and so on and so forth. So I really just wanted to thank you for the years of message and this message. And I hope there's some way you guys can come to the Brownsville section because we need it out there. Talking about Chirac, our brothers and sisters. One of my students just died 2 weeks ago to gun out to one of my former students. So it's real in the field, so to speak. But thank you, and may Allah be pleased with your work, and I hope we can link up. Second question, do you take beats?
Yeah, we have a tank called Flip Mash, and we have, I think, 126 producers around the world. We try to find different licensing situations for them and tell them how to go to the next level. So send me an email, I'll forward you over to somebody. But more importantly, be relevant with the conversation. Also, I've worked really hard being on the lecture circuit 22 years since 1991, is to build an agency that will take all the voices. And when people always come at me, yo, Chuck, you need to come in. Not only, man, there's 50 states here.
Right.
And if every 50 states at least got 4 cities in every state. And every situation got like, yo, man, especially when you talk about black populated states.
Right.
Like I said, we're paying attention to Scranton. Scranton got a situation out there that's crazy deep.
Right.
So I said, I got to build a situation that will illuminate at least 100 cats that's in there who will be willing and got more time to go to the spot and be of service and actually make that a part of their living. AD, man, he's been teaching for like 30 years, man. You've been doing things in the educational system as well as the healthcare systems, and people have to hear the scientists from the culture that we already have. So it's my job to divert this into something that's tangible, as opposed to saying, well, I don't know. I don't know if I can get out here. I live west, I live south, so you can't flip time zones. But like I was saying initially, other voices have to be heard. Other voices have to be revered. Other voices have to be built. Other voices have to be recognized. It's ridiculous for our heroes. I'm never put myself in that category. But I put myself in the category of being a fan, looking at these brothers and saying, man, we cannot have their names being in vain. That's why, under my watch, I'm not allowing that to happen. I'm a historian, I think I'm a historian and a student And if I know a lot about black history and black music, I'm a musicologist. So I could not have brothers like L.A. Sunshine be less regard than a county color.
Exposure.
And if somebody said, I don't know who so-and-so is, that ain't the fault of the pioneer or the groundbreaker or the game changer. That's the fault of some kind of mystic switch and allowing those to know what's already been done. But they can eradicate actual fact, truth, and history. They can sell you the same thing over again in new form and maybe lesser quality. Not even maybe lesser quality, really lesser quality. That's it. So yeah, I'll send an email, I'll let you know what I'm doing.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you. Yes, sir, I like that t-shirt you got, bro.
I had to dig for it today.
I'm jealous because I want to wear my shorts, but I said I had to speak.
I really don't have a question. My name is Antoine. I'm from Brooklyn.
Please.
And I just wanted to say thank you to you because, you know, when my father was in the household, the voice was like that hypnotic voice that pretty much carried me for a good period of time. So I just had to say thank you. And as you stated, that voice, that is true. That is a hypnotic voice, it's a commanding voice, it's a brotherly father voice, and it helped me to stay out of trouble, search up like certain things that you did drop, what was considered maybe cryptic to some, like it pretty much hit home with me. And I got some music, coming out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not corny stuff, because you played one of my joints, and I appreciate it very much because I went by the name of Public Announcer.
Yeah.
That was from you. So I just wanted to just come here and say thank you and
Send us some more
just
joints
to
for
be
real.
around great energy because this is what it's about.
Yeah, please sell. We have a great time with rap station. We got 10 stations. We got an all-woman hip-hop station. We got the classic station hip-hop guys. That's really exploding. I heard on BAI, on Friday nights. And, you understand, the voice comes from my father. I was fortunate to have my father truly serious and break some noise. My father, me and my brother joke about it. Her grandfather, he could yell across the town of Rosenberg, you cannot say you've been here. I'm serious. My father like, like, yo, just beat me, don't yell at me. That type of thing. So I guess, all the things that my father was able to say, I said, it's like education. I got a degree in 1984, in college for art and design. My job was to say, well, how many people could I give it to for free? I got the education, I'm giving it all for free. I got some training, some teaching, I'm giving it all for free, without cost. That's the whole thing. Education, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding don't come in a microwave. So if it comes out of you, it's supposed to be of service to enhance your surroundings without you trying to do an accounting on it. Like, oh, I put this out, so I'm looking to get some out. You can't provide a service, you gotta have output and just keep it moving. And that's how we went about things and we go about things. Like, we're not trying to do accounting for what we try to do. It's just like you can put out bad out there and you're not supposed to do accounting on that, but there is some side effects. So my thing is like, man, whatever I have that can be tangibly or whatever given away, that's all. We can't leave with anything. We're unseen, then we're seen, and then we're unseen. So while you're seen, what are you leaving with? What are you leaving somebody with?
All right. Thank you.
Jay Dillon. Like that shirt, bro.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good.
My name is Nas. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago.
Okay.
And I just have one question. I want you to, if possible, to tell us about the process you went through to write the song Fight the Power.
Writing the song, Fight the Power. Number one, I was influenced by the Isley Brothers in 1975, as we all were from my group. Fight the Power answered to a lot of things that were going on we weren't sure about in 1975. 1975 was a real whack period for somebody 15 and black. In this city, especially those that lived in the city too, Like you was unsure about what was happening. Then I think Nixon had just left. So you're like, man, I got a corrupt president. I'm black, I'm male, trying to figure this thing out and what's going on. So Isley Brothers was like, okay, fight the power, understand this and that. Then when it came down to us doing something, Spike Lee had to talk to a situation that was going down in this city where you had black communities that were being underserviced and disrespected during the David Dinkins administration. They already was coming at him, but one thing they had back then, they had black radio. So down on the dial, at WLIB, you had Gary Bird, you had Mark Riley, you had Bob Law, you had black papers like The Sun, Amsterdam News, and the Full Glass. You even had a little bit of hip-hop media that answered to that, as well as the hip-hop community that realized, well, we got to say something. And all these things were happening at once. But rap was speaking out and spitting this thing out in resistance as well. So Spike Lee said, look, I'm putting a movie together about all this unrest that's going on, and I'm going to need an anthem. So Fight the Power was that thing that fit in our own hip-hop type of way. And we figured out, I just never knew that Spike was going to put something in the movie so many damn times. I'm like, who does this? I'm like, okay, you know? And Spike is really, he's the dude that used sight and sound as almost reverse propaganda against the powers that be. Fight the Power, if it just played once in it would have been like, okay, you know, what we do. He made that a theme and built a movie around it. So we have to be mindful of that. And even though it brings on to this day, we can't claim credit for this. My guys would know, I'm not one to claim credit. I can't claim credit for something that's before me that takes on, I'm of service. You know, hip hop is my military. Rap is like, almost like, and it's sacrilegious to say, but rap is sort of like my inner spirit. You know what I'm saying? So I treat it like that. I learned from the best that taught me. So this is something that's resonated around the world. And here's the thing about it. It's around the world stronger than ever. Now, that's a hard conversation to convey to somebody who's in the United States, who ain't never left the United States, who never left the city, and they probably just listen to the radio all the time, and they're like, so what you doing? so you know, you're coming out with something, and you're like, well, even if I did, you wouldn't mind. I mean, you listening to that, you're watching that. So if you listen to this all the time, and you watch that, you're not going to see me in this place. And if you're going to hear about me, you're going to hear about me walking on something, which I really don't want to walk on. Like it's Iggy Azalea, what's the name? How you pronounce the name? I said one little thing or something they put on Facebook where she had a picture of me and my hands. It was her and B.O.B. and Drake and T.I. And then people were like, well, that wasn't a real thing. Somebody photoshopped that. And so I'm supposed to be up there, oh, my bad. Okay, my bad. But anyway, now I don't know this girl from a box of crayons. I'm like, yo, so they think I'm going in. I ain't going in on it. I go in on structures. I go in on a head dude to make their coffee shake in the morning. And when they go, excuse me, Margaret, bring me my eggs. I'm like, oh, what's going on? I'm trying to be that guy.